Well, look who the cat dragged in. It's Marvin. Hey, Marvin.
Hi, Daisy Pooh.
And there's our friends. You found Daisy Pooh and Marvin's Fuzzy Finger reviews. So put on them sitting britches and come on in and sit a spell as we review the movie Madam Webb. But first, Marvin, I've been meaning to ask you, how is your bursitis doing? I brought my mom a special bursitis cream I've been telling you about.
Well, Daisy Pooh, I'm looking forward to trying it out. Anything that'll help me get out of my chair a little easier. I welcome it, so thank you.
Oh, well, I'll give you some after the reviews. But right now, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that movie?
Why, certainly. This is a 2024 Marvel Universe movie about a psychic paramedic that battles a supervillain. The villain is connected to Madame Web's late mom, who was in the Amazon researching spiders when she died. Wow, the movie is rated PG-13 and runs about 2 hours long. Daisy Pooh, when you suggested this movie, I thought to myself, what did I do to Daisy Pooh to deserve this? See, I already knew that the box office, was a flop and, it had some poor reviews by normal people, but I watched it anyways because I like you, Daisy Pooh. But watching this movie felt like someone gave the writers and directors a shot at working on a real movie but they shouldn't have. Or like if you were watching a community college film festival in the early 2000s, I've been to some of those. This would fit in well there. People unsubscribe to whatever service is streaming this movie. It's horribly written. I give it one fuzzy finger.
Oh, Marvin, I just have to apologize for asking you to watch that. I'm kind of embarrassed. My man Bubba Doo just loves a good superhero movie. So I saw this and thought maybe it's one we could watch together. But oh, it was a groaner right from the start. I immediately found the main character so off putting, I had a hard time even forming an attachment to her right out the gate. If you can't form an attachment to the main character, how are you going to like the movie? I just tell you, for that reason, and for after spending 2 grueling hours sitting through that thing, I gave it one fuzzy finger too. I think part of the problem was that Dakota Johnson, who played the main character, the paramedic, I just couldn't understand why. The whole movie, why? Nothing in the movie made sense to me. None of the characters made sense. She didn't make sense. Why'd they choose her? She had no connection to people at all. Why be a paramedic if you hate people? I just kept wondering that. Why take care of the girls if you hate people? Why'd the girls follow her if you hate people? Nothing made sense to me this whole movie. The characters didn't make sense. None of the actors did well in their parts, I thought. I was just so confused and scratching my head the whole time. No, I didn't think they did a good job casting. I didn't think it was, Marvin, what'd you think?
Well, Daisy Pooh, I can't tell if it was the movie wasn't casted well. In the back of my mind, I think French mimes couldn't have done worse in this movie. Uh, there were a couple decent performances, but that may be because they didn't have many lines. I'm thinking of Adam Scott and the pregnant lady. Those come to mind. Uh,
Oh, yeah, they did pretty good, I guess.
yeah, bit parts, but uh, I can tell you that the main villain was subpar compared to the other actors. Where I think things really got out of hand is the script and screenplay. This is where I'm going to lay most of the blame. Conversations didn't flow well, they were disjointed and forced. Characters were uninspiring. Events happened that didn't even make sense. I almost thought this movie was about chest compressions. It was like focused on in the whole movie. Madam Webb pulled a guy out of a wreck, and the first thing she did is started chest compressions. She didn't even check if he was injured or if he had a heart rate or anything. And this was after she did 2 minutes of chest compressions on another guy. It was like she was Oprah, and instead of giving out cars, she was giving out chest compressions.
Oh, that was kind of comical, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there's like 40 cops who died or were injured, and somehow they blamed Madam Webb, who wasn't there. The villain. Oh my good. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling some of this movie, but the villain had a one night stand, and he touched the arm of his lover, and immediately she knew that it was poison flowing through her veins. I'm like, how how would she know that? It's dark, like she can't see, and like, oh, I got poison. It didn't make sense to me anyways.
Yes. Oh, Marvin, I couldn't agree with you more on everything you said. And to me, this you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, and this was definitely a sow's ear. It was so full of holes. The dialogue was stiff and choppy, and the timeline was completely unbelievable. I mean, she travels halfway around the world and all of a sudden learns all these new skills and is able to use them immediately and get back in the same day somehow. I don't know. Things just are just so unbelievable. It left me so befuddled. And I think one of the most befuddling scenes, if you spoiled, I'm going to spoil it, although I don't think we're really spoiling much. They're trying to evade this villain, and these little girls, they go dancing on tables and in restaurants and just stupid stuff. I just was like screaming at them at times, like, "What are you doing?" It was bad.
Yeah.
Did I mention I gave it one fuzzy finger?
Yeah, I mean, it was one for me as well. It's
Cinematography, animation, groaner. It was for the theater, so I expected more, but some of it was just bad. It was B movie, definitely B movie or C movie. I don't know. I was just so disappointed.
yeah, when you think about this, cinematography and how this was shot, I started off groaning right off the bat. The movie starts off with a Jason Bourne jiggle camera effect, and
Hmm.
quick cuts, all to try to bring excitement to a 15 to 20 mile an hour ambulance ride through the city streets of Brooklyn. Oh, that's when I knew I was in trouble. I will say, some of the special effects of like Madam Web, those did look cool, but it wasn't gonna save this movie. Next, the director. If they were smart or good at their job, they would have read the script and quit. Maybe that's what happened a few times before we ended up with this director. But realistically, it's a Disney movie, and I'm sure this was all on purpose. I looked up the directors, and as far as I could tell, this was their first actual movie they directed. They had a couple credits on some, mainstream TV series, but, just like one episode here and one episode there. And then they had a lot of credits on stuff I didn't know. I think the director took this bad script and amplified just how bad it was. There was a lot of tropes in this movie, including, at the climax, they put it high up in the air. It's an easy movie trope for, all these movies. The villain, all throughout the movie, the villain had like superhero strength and speed, but at the end, he barely even touched the heroes. It was like watching a paraplegic try to have a fist fight with them.
Hmm.
And then, of course, he's walking slow in the last minutes, just to give time for Madam Webb to come up with whatever solution she thought she could.
Did you like how all those fireworks went off at the same time, even though it took forever for them to set them up and they just magically happened to go off at the same time? I thought that was funny. But I have one word for the director: awful.
You mentioned B movies, but I'm gonna say this was more comparable to C movies that you see on late night. I would say a majority of those were better written and directed compared to this movie. They should have taken the actors from Madam Web and stuck them in one of them C movie scripts, and I think the movie probably would have been better. Uh, I'm not even sure how this movie got the green light. Also, just my opinion, but the directors and writers for Madam Web, you might want to think about seeking other forms of employment.
Marvin. You're so funny. I think for the most part, and this is just my opinion, people do try their best at what they do. I believe they worked their hardest and tried their best and probably did their best with the script they were given. The writers probably thought they were writing a good script, all that stuff, but somehow it was a train wreck. I mean, they don't want to put out garbage, but somehow, even if this was their best, Madam Web turned out complete toxic catawampus. Its unlikable characters, unbelievable writing, timeline, and plot. It was torture, just pure torture to sit through. I suggest you run from this like a rabbit runs from a hungry fox. Marvin, I'm not changing that one fuzzy finger. It's still just one fuzzy finger, and that I don't give those very often.
Nope, neither do I. But wow, you stayed through this entire review?
Thank you.
We appreciate it. We hope you return for our next review, and assuredly it's going to be more exciting to this. So, like and subscribe and tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe you guys have some really funny insights on this movie as well. See you later, everyone.
Bye bye.